Getting back to Steve's question, go ahead, Steve.
My point is that, we've got 12 months we're budgeting for here, and we have some goals that we're setting in relation to implementing some modules we already own, which will require some additional training, probably some hours. And then we have other modules to complete the package to the tune of $100,000. Can we phase those in, or is it $100,000 that has to be spent? Drop it all in place, can you phase that portion of the modules in? And should we be doing that?
Well, because that 104,000 takes in everything, real estate, motor vehicle. If they, I don't know if, I can find out through the company if they can, can we do, motor vehicle, for instance, and get that up and running? And what's the cost of that? Then come back and do real estate and personal property. And then come back and do the utility building. That's what you're asking, right?
Yeah, well,
I can find that out.
I'd like to see us have a game plan as to phasing in the entire package, so that we have a timeline and we know 18 months from now, we're fully operational. If that's the case, it's gonna require some additional.
Yeah, I wanna go back to this.
But I wouldn't put anything in this budget. It would be in the capital in October.
Understood.
Right.
Joe, I wanna go back to the module we've purchased. Now, one of the reasons why we purchased that module was that there was additional work that was required without it.
Yeah, that's the manual entries of the, yeah.
Right. So it seemed to me that that ought to be, on a high priority list once you get, I understand that you've been shorthanded and, we've had people out sick, right?
Right,
Now
but that's been taken care of.
Got someone in there, a new hire in there, and we have somebody retiring, so there's a replacement, and, as soon as you get caught up, we ought to be focusing on that. And if we don't have training money for that, then I think.
No, we have training money.
Okay.
We have training money, and then we have, I assume some of the training may take place outside of normal working hours, because you're not overstaffed, that's for sure.
Yeah.
In order to get stuff done, you may have to compensate people to do the training.
I mean, that happened once, but, that they had to work, but usually they, their work day is anywhere from, 8 to 5, the Munis trainers. I mean, if it's necessary to go beyond that, yeah, they'll do that.
Make
But
sure we have it covered.
Any questions on the county budget? We're gonna talk about the other collections, or are we?
I was gonna do debt on 4, because
Okay.
I told the treasurer I would do that. Because she'll be in next week for her budget. We don't have a debt section.
We're not doing it. Mine is blank.
Well, you're
Yes.
just gonna wait till next week to do that.
No, there's not gonna be,
Make up some numbers.
the debt budget is right off the debt schedule. I mean, these are our obligations for the long-term debt that we owe, and that's what you'd see in here.
Yes, but okay, now let's talk, I wanna talk about that for a minute, okay, because we've got debt stabilization,
Yes.
we've got, to know what, like we've done in the past, we've gotta know what our debt payment schedule is, and we're trying to hold our debt payment level, and I don't know if you were around at our last meeting, but the board seems to be behind the culvert project, the, help me, the school,
Everything
project.
The
What am I,
Lighting,
lighting fixtures and.
lighting fixtures, which is energy conservation.
stormwater
And
infiltration.
the stormwater infiltration.
Other than that, it's the
Other
same.
than that, and now what's the,
But
The impact.
we have to decide on what, first, how much we can afford to spend, and then we're gonna have to prioritize those if it doesn't fit.
Right.
And the only way we can tell it fits is we know what our our debt payment cycle is.
Okay.
Because, we can put so much in a debt stabilization to cover here, and then hopefully we're paying off some debt, so there's less coming out of that fund. The fund is only a limited amount of dollars, so. And we're not about to, at least in the current economic situation, increase the amount of debt payment, because it has a direct impact on our operating budgets at this point. So we need that information.
Okay, but any new debt this new debt won't affect 2011.
Doesn't matter.
Other than the short
It'll
term.
affect 2000.
12,
Oh,
yeah,
13.
because you have a year to, you'll have a 6-month interest payment.
No, we have a responsibility
Right.
to manage our debt, okay? And, yeah, the fact is, oh, we can spend this money this year and we have a minimal amount of debt payment. We still have to pay the bill eventually. Absolutely.
But one of the,
What Jeff and I are offering in election.
what was the other thing? Because there were a couple of items that needed to go into the debt
I think we
schedule.
just need the debt schedule, Joe, I think that's the key piece.
One was
Need something between 4 and 5.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, it's tough to talk about debt without a debt schedule.
Just a little something to look at.
I guess we'll
So
talk
this
about
is
it
the
next
next
week
week.
when you have
Yeah,
the,
it's not,
have the
it's not worth
documentation.
having a substantive discussion about that.
Anything else?
No, not really.
Anybody?
I've always,
Okay. There's one other item that Jeff
I don't really care,
asked to be put on the board meeting tonight for a discussion, and I told Jeff that I'd ask the board if they wanted to discuss it tonight, seeing, depending how much time.
Yeah.
Right. Now, it's not too late, so I don't have a problem with having a discussion on what you want to talk about.
I would like to talk,
Anyone
I
else
don't
have
mind
an
having-
objection?
no, let's-
Okay,
okay,
floor's yours.
thank you. You know, we've been talking about the sidewalk
Yeah.
scenario with clearing the sidewalks. And Bob had suggested that we put a committee together, and so I have some information in that vein. Could have been called the sidewalk committee, which we already have, but it was designed for different purposes. And I labored with this to try to come up with an all-encompassing description of the committee. And I came up with one of two scenarios. One would be the North Reading Pedestrian Safety Committee or the North Reading Pedestrian Safety Advisory Committee. I'll rely on your area of expertise on these suggestions. But as you read this, you'll see that the purpose of the committee is to make all pedestrian access areas, including but not limited to sidewalks, crosswalks, intersections, roads, streets, and trails, are functional and safe from harm or injury, and to work with town agencies, local organizations, and businesses to that end. The committee is to participate in discussions of town projects that impact pedestrian use. The committee will serve as a facilitator of state and federal funded improvements for any and all related pedestrian access areas. And then I put the proposed priorities for 2010 is to meet monthly or as needed, review North Reading Town Bylaw 158-9, snow removal on streets and sidewalks, bring to town meeting a revised version of Bylaw 158-9 for approval, work with local and regional organizations as well as businesses to share ideas and plans to create a safe, enjoyable walking environment in the town of North Reading. The long-range goals would be to create a comprehensive survey of all pedestrian access areas, including but not limited to sidewalks, crosswalks, intersections, roads, streets, trails, and trails in North Reading, rating them for functional capacity, safety, and prioritizing repairs and/or enhancements. Develop a town-wide strategy that will make the sidewalks of North Reading safe for pedestrian use. I tried to come up with an idea, a breakdown of what the committee should be made up of. I had one business representative voting as a voting member, one LUC voting member, 5 citizen voting members. That would include 1 senior, 65 or older, 1 high school student, and 4 adults, plus, as voting members, plus the DPW as a representative as a non-voting member, CPC as a non-voting member, and the North Reading Police Department as a non-voting member. So that was the gist of the thoughts that I had in this. I did some research. I'm going to pass this around. You can each look at this. This is Cambridge. These are 7 ideas that they had for safe sidewalks. This is, they have a committee. This is actually what they do in Oregon.
Pigeons.
You know, they had everything in there. They talk about clean sidewalks, never mind safe sidewalks, they talk about clean sidewalks. And, you know, one of the typical things is that in an intersection, if you, look at this, it gives you an idea, you know, most of our intersections and our crosswalks are white paint. And they're just two white lines. Well, here they give you an example of two white lines and yellow stripes on it. It becomes more pronounced when a vehicle comes to that intersection. They can see more and stop sooner, allowing a safety crossing intersection. So I know the idea started out with snow removal.
You can sit down, Jerry.
I know,
if you
I
like.
feel better standing.
Okay.
Do another copy of that?
Of which?
Yeah, the proposal, right there.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's fine.
That's right, I gave it to Bob.
Oh, you did? Oh, I was gonna give him one. But as I said, the whole thing started out with just removing snow from the sidewalks. But I think the community now is growing such that we need to be prepared to address many pedestrian issues with the increase of vehicular activity and the increase of the use of the sidewalks. I suspect, I don't have any statistics on this, but I would have to assume that the people that use our sidewalks and intersections most are the youth and seniors, because they like to go out for walks and the kids hang around. So,
Well, that doesn't fall on either one of those categories yet.
so I'd like your feedback on this and, you know, what you think of it, and if you think it's a good idea or not. I'm sorry, I also have here, and let me just quickly read this, is that the Supreme Court sides with sidewalk activists. Disabled man wins push to clear way. This was in Concord, New Hampshire. Bill Tinkers likes to ride the scooter in downtown Tilton. The Northfield man has respiratory, circulatory, and orthopedic problems that make walking or driving difficult. But he still likes to get out and about and to go to the post office, simple stuff, grocery store, or other local shops. Now he will be able to ride downtown all year long. This week, the New Hampshire Supreme Court settled a long-standing dispute between Tinker and the town of Tilton, about whether the town is required to clear snow from its sidewalks to allow him and others with disabilities access. In short, the court said, it is. So, if we think ahead and try to avoid that type of scenario for this town, I think a committee like this would work. Any questions?
Yes,
Joe?
couple if I could. Jeff, why did you decide to make the DPW, CPC, and North Reading Police a non-voting member?
I was thinking of those who use the sidewalks most, and so I was thinking that it would, those that have to utilize the roadways or the sidewalks would be the ones that should be making the votes. The input from them is important because it's really referring to areas of expertise. We may need the town engineer on one issue and the director of the DPW on another issue, or somebody else on another issue. So, you know, who's there from that department to me is not as important as that. So someone from that department, we can get their area of expertise.
Well, you know, just for comment now, I mean, no.
No,
I'm
I
not-
understand.
I think they could fall into somebody who does use the sidewalk quite a bit.
I'm sorry?
I mean, they could certainly fall into the category of using the sidewalk.
Who?
Somebody on the CPC. I mean, they could be somebody that uses the sidewalk
Yeah,
quite a
but we
bit.
have, we're looking for the perspective from the town perspective. That'd be the area of expertise I'd be
Well,
looking for.
Joe, I don't really have a problem with it. I think what we're dealing here is, these are resources to the committee, right? From the
Right.
DPW in terms of, maybe cost, it may be what you can do and can't do.
Before it
The
gets too
CPC, I can see that being important from the point of view of the thinking of the committee as they go forward for new developments, things like that. And the police department, obviously, dealing with